Why do your dreams remain dreams even though you know you're capable of more? You have ambitions, big goals, you want success, and the life you've always dreamed of. You know exactly what you need to do, but for some reason you keep procrastinating. Day after day, week after week, month after month, and instead of taking action, all that grows is a feeling of guilt. Deep down, you know you're capable of more. But with every passing moment, procrastination becomes more habitual. You make new promises to yourself, I'll start on Monday. Things will change after the new year. But time passes and you're still in the same place. Sound familiar? You're not alone. The good news is that breaking this vicious cycle is easier than you think. It's like pedaling a bicycle at the start. The first few rotations are the hardest. Your legs tense up, the speed is almost zero, and it feels like it would be easier to just jump off. But once you gain a little momentum, you're flying ahead almost effortlessly. That's how inertia works in life too. Thousands of people around the world face the same problem. Even successful entrepreneurs, athletes, and creatives admit that they too struggle to start. The difference is that they found a way to overcome this barrier, and you can do it too, easily, without unnecessary stress or self-criticism. The key is understanding how it works and using it to your advantage. The most important thing is not to wait for the perfect moment. Many believe that to start, they need inspiration or perfect conditions. But the truth is, the perfect moment is a myth. You need to start now, even with a small step. The key is simply to get into the process, and inertia will take care of the rest. At the end of this video, you'll learn specific steps that will help you take action today, and you'll be surprised at how easy it is. Before we move to step 2, I have a quick challenge for you. Only 5% of viewers can complete it. You need to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment done before the timer runs out. Let's see if you can do it in time. Procrastination sneaks up on you unnoticed, like a guest you weren't expecting, but who somehow stays around for far too long. At first, you simply put things off for later, thinking you'll start a bit later. Then, later turns into a habit, and the habit becomes a way of life. Eventually, you've resigned yourself to constantly postponing important tasks, and you start believing that you're just lazy. But the truth is, you're not lazy. You've simply become stuck in a vicious cycle of procrastination. How can you break this cycle and finally start taking action? The internet is full of advice to delete social media, set timers, remove distractions. These methods can provide a quick fix, but they only work on the surface. They don't solve the most important issue. Why do you start procrastinating in the first place? The good news is that there's a way out. Procrastination isn't a sentence, it's a temporary state that can be changed. Together, we will go through specific steps that will help you not only stop putting things off, but also develop a lasting habit of taking action. And the best part, you won't have to fight with yourself or overcome huge obstacles. It's much easier than it seems. You're not lazy, your brain is just protecting you. It's important to understand that procrastination isn't about laziness. It's a protective mechanism in your brain related to emotions, which tries to shield you from stress, failure, or even the fear of success, which can lead to changes. When you're faced with a big or uncertain task, your brain chooses what's familiar instant pleasure over long-term benefit. That's why you're scrolling through your feed or watching videos for the 100th time instead of getting to the important tasks. So, fighting procrastination isn't about willpower, it's about awareness. You need to figure out what's holding you back and gradually reduce that fear. You just need to take one small step in the right direction, and the situation will begin to change. It's like the snowball effect first. You make a little snowball with your hands, but once you start rolling it through the snow, it quickly grows on its own, gaining speed and size. A small step starts the process, and from there, it only gets easier. Right now, you have the opportunity to break free from this vicious circle, and I'll show you how to do it. I'll help you get started with work easily and without stress. Let's figure out how to launch this process. Why is it so hard to just get started? It's all about inertia. Remember Newton's first law, an object at rest stays at rest unless acted on by an outside force. But this applies not only to physical objects, but also to us. It's like when a car is on a hill, it's hard to start moving. You need to push the gas pedal and overcome the resistance. But once you've gained speed and passed the peak, the car moves on its own, and you don't need to put in much effort. The key is that initial push. When we stay inactive for a long time, the habit of putting things off only gets stronger. We feel like starting is something difficult, hard, and requiring tremendous effort. As a result, our brain chooses the easier path, lying on the couch, binge watching shows, looking for the perfect moment, but it never comes. But there's a clever trick that can help you fool your brain and get the process started, the reverse deadline technique. Instead of a distant goal, set yourself an artificial deadline right now. For example, if you need to write a report, tell yourself I'll write the draft in 15 minutes. Or if you want to do an exercise, just set a timer for 5 minutes and start. For example, writer Parkinson noticed that if a student is given 2 months for an essay, they'll write it on the last night. But if given 24 hours, they'll finish it in a day. The brain adapts to the deadlines we set. That's why a short deadline breaks procrastination. The task seems achievable, and your brain immediately starts working. And once you start, continuing becomes much easier. How to overcome inertia? The biggest mistake is trying to push yourself to go from 0 to 100 all at once. It's like trying to move an immovable stone with a single push. Instead, imagine that you only need to give it a slight nudge for it to start rolling. One small step that will get you moving. This principle is used by the most productive people. They don't wait for inspiration or motivation. They create movement themselves. Here are a few inspiring stories of famous people who overcame procrastination and inertia by taking small steps. 1. Jeff Bezos got that power of one question. When Jeff Bezos worked on Wall Street, he had a stable and well-paying job. But one day, he learned that the internet industry was growing at a rate of 2,300% per year. This thought kept him up at night, and he asked himself a simple but life-changing question. If I don't try to create an online store, will I regret it when I'm 80? The answer was yes. So he decided to take the risk. But he didn't immediately dive into building a global empire. He started simple. He quit his job, moved to a small house, launched Amazon in a garage, and started selling books online. He chose a small niche that allowed him to test the idea and build a sustainable business. Today, Amazon is the world's largest online retailer, and Bezos is one of the richest people on the planet. It all began with one small question and one first step. Lesson? If you're facing a tough decision, try to mentally transport yourself to the future and ask yourself, will I regret it if I don't try? This question will help you prioritize and overcome fear. The key is to start small, not to wait for the perfect moment. 2. J.K. Rowling, how 50 words a day changed her life. Before becoming the world's best-selling author, J.K. Rowling went through one of the toughest times in her life. She lived on government benefits, raised her young daughter on her own, and struggled with depression. She didn't have a stable income, time, or confidence in herself. But even in such a difficult situation, she didn't give up on her dream of writing a book. However, the idea of creating an entire novel seemed daunting. So Rowling decided not to chase after perfection, but simply write a little bit every day. Sometimes it was just 50 words, a couple of sentences on a scrap of paper written in a cafe while her daughter slept. Sometimes she managed to write more. These small steps gradually turned into chapters, then into a book, and eventually into an entire universe. That's how the first Harry Potter book was born, which later revolutionized the literary world. When Rowling submitted the manuscript to publishers, she received 12 rejections. But she didn't stop, and eventually her book was published. Today, Harry Potter is one of the most successful book series in history, and Rowling is one of the most influential authors in the world. But it all started with 50 words a day. Lesson: if your goal feels too distant, break it down into small steps. Write the first line, make the first draft, start small. The key is to keep moving forward, even if it's slowly. Even 50 words a day can change your life. Even the most successful people began under far from ideal circumstances. The key is to take the first step. Remember, it's not the scale that matters, but the act of moving. One step, one action, and you're no longer where you were yesterday. It may be small, uncertain, but it's the step that will start a chain of changes leading you to the result. Imagine in a month, you'll have made more progress than you ever thought possible. In 6 months, you won't recognize yourself. And in a year, you'll be grateful for that first step. Your success doesn't start tomorrow. It starts here and now. Your time is now. You already know what to do. But the most important thing is not just to know, but to act. Don't just watch this video right now. Stop. Pause. Choose one task you've been postponing. The first thought is your answer. Don't analyze. Don't doubt. Just write it down in the comments. Look at it. Anchor it in your mind and feel this moment. For example, write the first sentence in the document. It will already start the flow. Go for a 10-minute jog. Your body will thank you. Turn off your phone and leave it alone for 30 minutes. Focus on yourself. Do one important task right now. No more delays. Go to bed on time. You'll wake up energized tomorrow. Delete unnecessary apps. Free yourself from digital clutter. It doesn't matter how small this step seems. The key is to start. This is your starting point. From here, it will get easier. Your success starts now. Ready to take the challenge? Choose a simple action and do it. Don't delay. Write in the comments what you did and break the procrastination cycle. You've already started changing. Keep going.
Don't miss next video. It will fill you with new motivation and help you take another step toward your dream.